Almost every circumstance, I'm more comfortable doing something myself than I am asking somebody else to do it. So I would say it applies almost completely, you know. I work in a recording studio that I built for that purpose. I work in other studios when asked to, but I do all my own engineering. I tend to bring my own equipment, so a lot of my own equipment with me. Within the band, Shellac, we do as much as we possibly can ourselves, and I still feel like doing things yourself is valuable in its own sake, because it teaches you more about the circumstances that you work in, and it teaches you more about all the different aspects of your existence.
What's up, VC? Seeking a Thread, coming to you on a Wednesday. Haven't recorded a sort of official video in a while. The last two were recorded weeks ago, in fact, and released later. I've processed, or maybe not even fully, but somewhat anyway, the passing of the great Steve Albini. Yeah, the last video I released, the Vinyl Absorption, whatever it was, 5, I released that on the morning of the day everyone found out that Albini had died. Last Wednesday, the 8th, he actually passed away the night before, and the news broke the next day. I had talked about electrical audio because my band Material Objects is playing, or is booked to record August 19th and 20th at Electrical Audio, but we booked with Greg Norman, who I assume is now taking over most of the recording responsibilities. He was from what I understood, about 30 to 40% of the bookings were with Greg. But, you know, yeah, we were hoping to meet Steve. We figured we'd run into him and just say hi. But unfortunately, yeah, that day, the day I released a video, Stunty, in fact, I was chatting with him real quick. I sent him a question about something, and he just like, hey, I have to go on the stream, by the way, or Albini died. I was just like, whoa. And yeah, I mean, it hit me pretty hard, to be honest, as I'm sure it has a lot of you. Never seen any of his bands perform, for whatever reason. Yeah, I'm just going to show his records and then show some other records he produced. But I was so influenced by him from an ethos perspective, from musical perspective for sure, but also all of the records he produced. I looked it up in my Discogs, in my collection, which I have cataloged in Discogs, and 39 records came up, but he's not always credited. And that you have to really look through the main discography of Wikipedia, which I'm sure all of you can find, but I don't even know if that's full. I mean, he's done so much, whether it's from bands you don't even know to major bands, you know, like, yeah, Nirvana, Pixies, PJ Harvey. But a lot of people don't know is, like, anyone, I mean, maybe everyone knows this, but anyone could book Steve, or could have booked Steve, or can set up recording and electrical audio. It was meant to be for whatever band wanted to do it, big or small. Obviously, you had to, you know, fit into the schedule, of course, which we were able to finally figure out. And it's, you know, actually the rates are quite fair. I mean, they're not dirt cheap or anything, but they're quite fair. Steve was a little more expensive than we wanted to be, even though for his level of professionalism and resume, he should be way more. But so we opted to go with Greg just for lack of distraction and just because it was a little bit less. So, yeah, I mean, the loss is immense. It's a massive loss. Only 61 years old. He had plenty more work in him, and he was working regularly. So, I mean, where to begin? I mean, at first I just didn't know what to do. Like, I thought, what music of his should I play, whether it's produced or whether it's stuff he recorded. And I didn't anything. I didn't play anything until the next day. I mean, it was just hard to sort of pin down, you know, just what I was in the mood for. And that full day I just sort of like sucked in and just tried to react. This is Terraform, which I was listening to, or Terraforma. I always say no, it is Terraform. I always say Terraforma. We're listening to the first track, which is one of my favorite tracks. This is my favorite record. Didn't we deserve a look at you the way you really are? This is from, I think, 98. And I always love, you know, the artwork has always got a similar feel. He always liked to state the plain basics of who's on the records, what instruments they use, or what recording microphones. You know, Steve was a big microphone collector and obviously a big gearhead. Not so much a gearhead, but just he liked things to be very functional, but he did love microphones. I've been sort of going back and listening to interviews and things, but I think it's a huge loss just because of how much he influenced and how many people he did influence. Now, I think he created his apostles and they're out there working and living and writing music, so his influence has been felt. But he had more work to do. Not to mention a new record, which I have here. It comes out Friday. This is To All Trains by Shellac. And I'll talk fully about this another time. I've listened to this about 3 times already. Well, his vocals feel much more upfront, I will say that. But this is, by the way, used all recycled vinyl. They're trying something different, and it sounds really good. It sounds just as good as all the other records, and on whether it's from Shellac or anything on Touch and Go, which is so synonymous with Steve Albini. I mean, how many records came out on Touch and Go? Corey Rusk has even one point toured with Shellac. But this thing is punchy, of course, economical. It's a short and punchy record, and it's. I think everyone's going to love it once they hear it. But I think Albini was just so notable because he didn't think of himself as someone that deserved a lot of credit. Like, he just wanted to put in the work and do a good job by the artists and the bands that are paying him. And that's admirable. I mean, he didn't want it to be about him. He wanted it to be about the bands he was producing and how can I accurately reproduce what this band's want. And produce is an important word because he never considered himself a producer, always an engineer. Or, you know, you always look at the credits, it's always recorded by Steve Albini or engineered by Steve Albini, you know. And like I said, a lot of the records, it's hard to even figure out that it's him, you know. He has all these different aliases on Discogs if you look. Like, I'll show one later where he's just listed as the proprietor or geeky nerd or something like that. I think it's their first 7-inch here, or is it second, Uranus. I'm really more of a Shellac fan than Big Black. I'll have some Big Black, but Big Black, of course, I do like, but I just think the sound of Shellac really worked a little more for me. Big Black was great for what it was, but at times I just felt like it got to be a little grating on me. I mean, he had more work to do. There was more to be done. I'm sure he had other big records lined up, you know, and more, of course, to tour with this record coming out, and to continue to sort of like teach and educate other up-and-coming producers, which he's done. I watched a video he recorded just a month ago talking with an up-and-coming engineer who was asking him all these technical questions, and he seemed very happy to do it. And that's one thing you hear, is that everyone was really happy, or Steve was always very happy to sort of pass along his knowledge. And, you know, he had an ethos that was just tried and true. Certainly cantankerous is what from what I understand. Very much hated as a younger musician for all of his controversial sort of activities and some of his antics on stage and whatnot with Big Black. But I think there was even still more to happen, more work to be done that would sort of continue to influence. Who knows what else he would have done? I don't know what his last sessions were. You know, he hasn't really worked with a massive artist of recent that I can think of, but you know, I think the work stands for itself. And, you know, that drum sound, right? The drum sound is what he's remembered for. You know it's an Albini record when you hear that drum sound, whether it's intimate or not. At Action Park for Shellac, this is an original pressing. Down. Yeah, I have it. Yeah, I have it over there. 1,000 hertz at Action Park. A lot of people's favorite. I prefer Terraform at Action Park. And here's 1,000 hertz. This just got repressed. This is, I don't think this is original, but again, economical, like replicating the tape box. Not that many shellac records for all the years. I mean, until this new one, the last one was 2014, Dude Incredible, which I don't have. This was the last release. This came out a couple of years ago, but this is all BBC radio sessions, the end of radio. But I guess going as far back as '94, but going all the way up until somewhat recently. On Touch and Go. Trademark of quality right there, of course. Excellent Italian Greyhound. This one's a little, perhaps, yeah, right, this is the belly band or whatever you want to call it, the sleeve. This one's a little bit difficult for sure. This one has some odd moments, but I do love the sleeve design. This has got to be like 2005, 2006. Again, yeah, and this one was mastered at Abbey Road, actually, by the way. But yeah, I mean, his thing was about doing the work, being at the studio every day, and being paid like a plumber, like he said in the interview or with a letter that he wrote to Kurt Cobain. He doesn't want points. He didn't take points on records. He wanted to be paid for his work. And he would travel. He traveled obviously to Pachyderm Studios in Minnesota to record in utero. But he wasn't about himself, and I think that's kind of rare. I think that's kind of rare these days. I don't think it's something that, you know, many people would live by. I mean, you know, he took the harder path. Probably wasn't rich, although he did. His studio had consistent work. From what I understand, they were on thin margins, though. You know, it's an expensive proposition running a studio, even with consistent work. I'm sure COVID-19 was tough for them. Now, I can't find my copy of Atomizer. I think I sold it, which I'm okay with. I mean, but I still have songs about fucking. This is. It's definitely an earlier pressing. I don't have the year in front of me, but it's an early one. It could, I think it may be like the first reissue. So I'll have to get Atomizer again, but of course, Rape Man, his one-off band, they do a ZZ Top record or track on this. It's never been reissued, I don't think. It really follows more in the footsteps of Big Black. But this was supposed to be his next band, but they only made this record. I mean, he really was a true punk. He always did things, very much like Ian MacKaye, the Ian MacKaye of the Midwest. They both had their sort of rules that they lived by, and they stuck to them. They didn't really care about being rich or making money. They just believed in the music and sort of serving that first. You know, just very pure, just a true artist man, and, you know, just wanted to show up for work every day, put on his coveralls, and, you know, do his best no matter how obscure the band was or how well known the band was, whether it was Low, Sun, PJ Harvey, you know, you name it. Yeah, I mean, even if you didn't like Shellac or Big Black or any of his related, I'm sure you have his music out there. So yeah, I always just love the sound of his recordings, and I can tell, I really can, especially with the drum sound. You're hearing it on the Shellac. It's the sound of electrical audio, and it's why Material Objects is going out there to record. We're gonna hopefully get that sound in Studio B. So but yeah, a massive loss, and I've just been listening to a lot of interviews with him again, and he's just one of these people you just think is always going to be out there, like John Candy. I still think John Candy is like alive and with us, but Steve is just, he just seemed invincible to me. Something about him. I mean, all you hear about is how intelligent he was, how funny, World Series player, gourmand. Like, he truly was like a Renaissance man in many ways. So it is sad. I mean, I understand he died working right up until the end, and it is a shame he didn't get to tour this record, because I would have certainly been trying to go see it. So it's a massive loss. I think this is right up there. You know, it's a different kind of thing, but this is up there with like your David Bowie's, your I mean, yeah, I do think it's as big as Kurt Cobain, although it's not really the same level for everyone. But I think from what he contributed to music, it's huge. I mean, he's been behind so many amazing records. I mean, this one is a biggie, and it's a lot of people are sort of like taking, you know, it just hits you in a way that it talks about your sort of, this one I'm really feeling in a sense of my mortality. Like, I'm really thinking about mortality again. Well, again, but who isn't? But just the idea that you're putting in all this work and you have all of this great information and history, and then one day you're just gone. You know, it's heavy. So yeah, anyway, with the time I have left, I'm going to show a bunch of records that I've played that are all produced by Albini. And some of these I haven't, but they're just interesting, sort of deeper picks that you might not be aware of. I think I'm going to try to feature an Albini sort of pick on all of my, you know, vinyl absorption videos or whatever. I just think it'd be cool to sort of redigest them and reacquaint myself with them over the next whatever. I'll talk about this one. 1994 was the Red Crayola self-titled, a comeback record of sorts for Mayo Thompson's project. I got this in the 90s as an experiment. David Grubbs, John McIntyre, A. Olin, Jim O'Rourke, Stephen Prina, Mayo Thompson, Tom Watson. I mean, that tells you a little bit about who's on there. Now, Albini's not credited here, but from what I understand, he did record this, and this is before Electrical Audio opened. Electrical Audio opened a couple of years after this, but this is a good album and one I need to re-listen to. No insert, but it is on Drag City. Yeah, I saw this looking through his discography, so looking forward to playing that again. I don't even know what this goes for, but it's a mid-90s pressing, the only pressing, Red Crayola. I have all the Zeta records, the Italian group, one of the few bands Albini has traveled to. I think he did. You had to pay him, obviously, to travel, but this one recorded in France, even though it's an Italian band, but recorded by Albini there. This is just an EP, and I have all their records. Great as well on Touch and Go. Very much in the same vein as Shellac, but with the woman vocal. I don't have her name in front of me. But yeah, very fiery and super great guitar playing. Interesting. Post-hardcore, basically. Post-punk. Early album by Palace Music. Not that early, actually. The year is not here. I think it's also around the same year, 94, 95. Rise Thereafter. And it's really not even credited, but this is a Palace Music record. David Grubbs is also on here. Ned Oldham. Recording by Steve Albini. But another Drag City record. And here's the lyrics. I did listen to this one, gorgeous album. Rise Thereafter. I have a lot of Oldham related stuff. So there's that. The next one is I guess it's the official last recordings released by the great Slint, recorded by Steve Albini from a session that I think was supposed to be longer. I don't remember the full story. It was supposed to be longer, but they only ended up releasing this. It's a 2-track EP, and this is, if you like Spiderland, you don't have this EP, you need this. It's 2 untitled tracks. There's something about this that I'm forgetting. I didn't research this before it, but exceptional EP, a 10-inch. I think they're both untitled songs, but it's in that same feel as Spiderland. This one I'm definitely going to feature again, because there's a story about this that I'm not forgetting. Someone will probably remind me. I did play this, an absolute classic. I know everyone loves this record. Magnolia Electric Company by Songs Ohio, the final record by Songs Ohio before they transitioned to Magnolia Electric Company. An absolutely masterful record. The whole place is dark. What a starting. The way this record starts with "The whole place is dark," those lyrics by Jason Molina. This is their transition to the sort of more countrified, rootsy feeling, rootsy rock that Magnolia Electric Company would be. Songs Ohio was, of course, more of a sparse, intimate, lo-fi record or slowcore band. But with that one, they really bridged the gap well, and it's incredible. Here's one that definitely has the Albini sound and recorded by him, American Dawn. Oh, by the way, I did play Josephine, the final record from Magnolia Electric Company, but I don't know where I put the record. I streamed that one. Don't know where that record is. Anyway, this is American Dawn, I think from 2000. Damon Che, Ian Williams, Eric M. Ian Williams would do battles later. Instrumental. There we are. Somebody getting a ticket. Record electrical audio. Room A, Studio A. By the proprietor. On Touch and Go. Of course, Touch and Go. So synonymous with Steve Albini. This is their best record, if you ask me. I also like What Burns Doesn't Return, but American Dawn is fantastic. And a beautiful one. This is maybe... Oh wait, there's one other record I got pulled, but another beautiful one. This is maybe the second record I played, Low, Things We Lost in the Fire. I know this is well revered. Everyone loves this record. It's sort of their... maybe their best record. I mean, I do... You know, when it comes down to it, I do prefer that earliest stuff. That's the real sort of sparse slowcore thing, but this one sort of bridges all the gaps so well. This is recorded in '99, I think. Albini, is he credited here even? Recorded by Steve Albini, yep. And mixed by Albini with Low, mastered by John Golden. And you do have Bob Weston playing trumpet on here from Shellac. And the last record I forgot to pull, but it's right behind me. A band I champion often. I feel like they could always use more championing. And one of the bands that I think is almost exclusively worked with Steve Albini, I believe, at least from this album onward. And that is Bedhead. This is the last Bedhead record. Technically there was a split with Matcha, but this is on Trans Syndicate. And it's been reissued by Touch and Go, but recorded by Steve. And then after this, they became the New Year, the Cadane Brothers, and I believe all the New Year records are recorded there. Yeah, this one doesn't list. It just says recorded in Chicago and mastered by John Golden, but indeed Albini was the engineer. Wonderful albums. This band is just beloved by me. Matt and Bubba Cadane. From 1998, right on the cover. I like that they put like the time code here. That drum sound is present here. The guitars sound great. I mean, it's an Albini recording. If you don't know Bedhead, check them out. And more recently, they're still technically active as the New Year, though the last New Year wasn't. Last New Year record was from 1997, so there it is. I feel like I maybe had more thoughts about Albini, but this is where we're at. Still sort of processing, and there'll be more to talk. I think we're going to be feeling this one for a long time. I'm really curious to see what his last recordings were, his last interviews, and of course we have the new album by Shellac, 12 Trains, coming out this Friday on Touch and Go. So that's it. Hope everybody got something out of that. Rest in peace, Albini. It'll be interesting and cool to be at the studio there. Well, he will be basically a ghost, but I'm sure I'll feel the influence there come August. So that's about it. See ya.